KFAN, The Fan.
I need someone, a person to talk
Punk rock
to,
legends Green Day just released a new album, Saviors. You can hear hits from it, along with their albums Dookie and American Idiot in full when they rock Target Field on August 17th. Tickets are on sale now. And for more info, you can head over to KFAN.com at the keyword calendar.
It's so good. Oak, I got to tell, I've been telling it, I'm preaching it. I even got an email from a dude last night that said, okay, I gave the Green Day record a listen. You're right. It's a great record. It really is a great record. I play this song because it's my favorite song on the record, but there are so many good songs on the new record. It's called Savior. This is my dear. Or is it Saviors? Might have an S on there. Maybe more than one. It depends on what you believe. I don't care.
Plural.
It's great, isn't it, Parrish?
I'm like, heck yeah.
And how about the words to this song? Does that speak to you a little bit?
Yeah. Just a little.
Have you seen the video?
No, I have not.
He's in a bar and people keep handing him drinks and drugs and he's trying not to do it, but he can't help it.
Oh, I got to check that out.
It's really something.
I got to check that out for sure.
I love this band. What are your thoughts on Green Day, Oak? I don't even know.
What are my thoughts on running a microphone? I think they are spectacularly good at what they do. There have been 1,000 or more proper good pop punk bands. But these guys, their longevity, their creativity, the nature of their storytelling and their songwriting, and their unabashed love of rock and roll, unbelievable. I think they're fantastic. I will absolutely be at the Saviors Tour in August at Target Field.
And they're going to play American Idiot all the way through.
And they're also going to play Dookie all the way through. And they're going to play a ton of other hits and songs off the new record. Plus, Smashing Pumpkins open up. Rancid's going to be there. For those of you guys, I heard you guys talking about ska earlier. And a great young band called the Linda Lindas are going to be opening up. I'm excited about this show, actually. Very excited.
Is the Linda Lindas a Japanese band?
There are some people of Asian descent in there. They are not an Asian band as such. I don't think they're from Japan.
Somebody was telling me about them the other day and was going crazy for them and said that I need to check them out because I'm going to love them, love them, love them.
You are going to love them, love them, love them. Now, there is a band out of Japan that my daughter and I went and saw at the Fine Line last year called Otoboke Beaver, and they are... They are... Settle down. Settle down.
That.
No, if you find
Rosen has ordered that at Manny's.
How's the Otoboke Beaver doing? Is it fresh?
Is that an appetizer or dessert? Harry, didn't you catch one of those around your house?
Yeah, 5 of them.
Quit bragging.
Oh, lucky.
Anyway, you were talking about what now?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Have you seen Green Day in person before?
I have.
They're pretty good, right?
They're
In person?
amazingly
Really
good. Last time I saw any of them live, though, it was just Billy Joe Armstrong. I went to Coachella some years ago, and I went to one of the bands I absolutely had to see was The Replacements. And about 3 songs, Minnesota Legends, The Replacements, obviously. About 3 songs into their set, who comes walking out but Billy Joe Armstrong? And Billy Joe's playing with them in the same suit that Tommy's wearing and the rest of the band is wearing. And he, a seasoned veteran rock star in his own right, is clearly geeked to be playing all these classic Replacement songs with them on stage in front of 100,000 people. Wow. It was great. I think they're an excellent band, man.
I'd like to see you play a concert sometime.
I don't mean to make you repeat yourself, but I didn't hear. Where did you see the Replacements and when?
Coachella. This probably would have been 2016 or 17.
Wow.
And
is Tommy playing with them?
Yeah. Tommy and Paul are the only 2 original members still there, but they had a great lineup. And then Billy Joe walked out about 3 songs in and played the rest of the set with them. Wow. And he was so excited to be there playing with the Replacements that he was virtually levitating. It was great.
Let me ask you another question about that, not to derail the conversation, but a band I'm unfamiliar with. I think it's because I'm from Indiana. I literally don't know anything about him, but every time I hear an interview with him, he talks about Husker Du. Husker Du.
Yeah. Are you asking me about Husker Du?
Yeah, I don't. I literally.
They're in my top. They're in my top 5 bands of all time. No joke. Zen Arcade came out the same year that Purple Rain came out, the same year that Let It Be came out by the Replacements. Bob Mould, Greg Norton, and rest in peace, Grant Hart. They were a trio that literally changed the course of my young life through their music. When I went and bought their record at Northern Lights down in Block E back in 1984, 85, I walked in and I said, what's something good, you know? And I was clearly some suburban kid with an asymmetrical haircut and a bad trench coat. And, I wish I was joking.
I can see that kid.
Wish I was joking. And you know, record store guys, they could have easily directed me towards the worst piece of trash in there. A guy walked me over. He's like, "This is the best record in the store right now," and he handed me a copy of Husker Du's Zen Arcade, and it literally changed my life. I didn't have any context for it. Husker Du. Without Husker Du, there are no Pixies. Without Pixies, there is no Nirvana. The line and where their place in the pantheon, Husker Du, if you could find it, Don't Want to Know If You Were Lonely by Husker Du gives you a perfect example. The only thing I wish is someone would go back and remaster the catalog, but Bob Mould won't let it happen. You know the band Sugar? Bob Mould, main guy behind Sugar, was also in Husker Du. They were unprecedented. Unfortunately, it was always strong melody, even at their most shreddy hardcore, which gave birth to the whole emo nightmare that's been unfolding for the last 30
Would I know any
years.
Husker Du songs? I've heard the name of the band 1,000 times.
That's exactly my point.
I can't think of one song, but would I know it if I heard it?
They never really had a hit,
Okay.
you know? But for people who were into alt music, for people who came of age when I came of age, they were a staple.
This is Sugar, right?
Yeah, that's Sugar. Oh, man, it's Sugar. There we go. If I Can't Change Your Mind, that's also Sugar. And
These were 69.7 artists, right? That's what was City is?
we would have played a little bit of it. I mean, they were a little too cool for the room. We were more Big Head Todd than we were Sugar.
Right.
But Sugar, also a brilliant band. If you're looking for the more melodic end, definitely dive in with Sugar first. But go back and listen to some Husker Du, man. Get your hands on Candy Apple Grey. It's one of my favorite records of all time. Oh. And now this is solo Bob Mould after Husker Du broke up. This album, Workbook, again, without the context of Husker Du, it lacks a little of its emotional heft, but it's beautiful.
All right. Well, this wasn't what I was going to do in music notes, notes about music. Hold on.
By the way, I haven't heard that.
Music notes. Notes on music.
There you go. Yeah. But maybe I'll say, you know what? I don't know. You guys might be interested.
Who brought up Husker Du? Why did that come up in conversation?
Because we were talking about Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I hear an interview with Billy Joe, he talks about Husker Du.
They mattered. They were absolutely were crucial and utterly mattered.
Yeah. So that's what brought it up to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were we going to talk about?
Well, it's a little different. You know, Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross?
Yes. If anybody in here says one negative word about Chris Cross, they're done.
And I'm not talking about the rap band.
No.
Chris Cross.
No.
I missed the bus. Warm it up, Chris.
The Mac Daddy will make it.
Yeah.
The Daddy Mac will make it. No. I mean Christopher Cross. He's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a reason that I'm bringing him up because, once again, Rick Beato, thank you very much for this. I had no idea. You know this song, Ride Like the Wind?
Yeah.
We've all heard this song a million times. This is yacht rock, right?
And one of the most brilliant examples of it because it actually kind of rocks.
Right. It kind of does. Now,
What'd you call it, Hardy?
Yacht rock?
Yacht rock?
Yacht rock, yeah. Michael McDonald sings backup on this.
It's a brilliant song.
Brilliant song. Here's something I didn't know. At the end, there's a little bit of a guitar solo going on right here, right? A little bit guitar solo. So Rick Beato says, what you might not know is that this has one of the greatest guitar solos of all time in it.
Wow.
And then he plays it. Check this out. Great tone. So that is going on underneath this. Now here's the other thing. You know who's playing that guitar solo?
No.
Christopher Cross.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, man.
He shreds.
Here's the weirdest thing. The rest of that record, a guy by the name of Eric Johnson is playing guitar on it. One of the best guitar players out of Texas. But not this song. This one, it's Christopher Cross.
But he probably knew he was sitting on gold with this one. He's like,
Exactly.
I'm doing this one.
Yeah,
I'm
how
doing
about that?
Have you ever seen the meme where Christopher Cross is one of the only people alive who got to look both like Jack Black and Kyle Gass from Tenacious D during his life. Because when he was younger, he had a rich, curly head of hair, and then he got bald as he got older. And in the meme, he looks exactly like both Jables and Rage Cage.
That's awesome. No, I had not seen that. So there you go. There's your music notes.
Wow.
There you go.
I like it.
And listen to Husker Du.
I'm not joking, man. I mean, like, Zen Arcade's going to hit a little too hard for people who aren't familiar with them. Start with Warehouse Songs and Stories. Go back to Candy Apple Gray. Listen to Sugar's Beaster EP. Oh, my God. They're just... Bob Mould and Grant Hart were two of the greatest songwriters Minnesota has ever produced. And there's Greg Norton on the bass, leaping all over the stage like some sort of mustachioed freak. And they're seriously in my top 5 bands of all time.
Did you see him live?
Oh, yeah. Only once, opening up for the Dead Kennedys at the Armory. Before the Armory.
Oh, my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, Otto's Chemical Lounge opened up. Oh, God, I have such a good story about this, but I don't want to eat up any more of your time. Anyway, it was a great show, and it was the only time I caught them as a 3-piece live, and it was dangerous. The stage was heaving. I was worried that I was in genuine danger, and it was one of the greatest nights of my life.
Dude, I envy you that. That's like, wow. That's cool.
Oh, but this right here.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just do this the rest of the morning.
All right, we'll be cool.
I got edibles outside.
Sounds like you got edibles inside.
All right, we'll get to the news in a second. We'll get to sports in a little bit as well. Mark Parrish is here. Mike Grimm. There's Brian Oake.
Thanks,
Mark
guys.
Rosen should be here in like 10 minutes. This is the Power Trip Morning Show on the Fan.
On iHeartRadio.
On the Fan, and we want to send you to the game. Caller 11 right now will win a pair of tickets to the Wild take on Carolina on February 27th. 1-800-320-5326. That's 1-800-320-5326.
Husker Du. Don't want to know if you're lonely. A band out of St. Paul, Minnesota, 1979.
It's pretty awesome. I honestly, the only reference I knew of Husker Du was from Joe Dirt. When he's revving off fireworks and he says Husker Du, Husker Don't.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Nice to get a little education.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Brian Oake, opening our minds. Let's do some sports now. Close them right back up.
It's time for Fan 5 on the Power Trip, presented by All Around Property Preservation.
Hey, thanks, All Around. Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson is returning to Detroit. He's 37 years old. Vacancies in Washington and Seattle, but it sounds like he's staying put. He interviewed this year with Atlanta, Carolina, and the Chargers before those jobs were filled. Last year, he interviewed with Houston and Indianapolis. I wonder if this is one of those situations where if the Lions had been knocked out earlier, if he would have had a better chance. You know, I mean, I know he interviewed with 3 teams, but like...
Or is it a situation where he likes what believes what he's got going in Detroit?
Maybe.
And he thinks he's got a legit chance at a ring, you know what I mean?
Maybe, but I mean, he interviewed twice last year, 3 times this year. He's clearly interested in moving up the ladder.
I think his quote
there's
was
interest in him.
It's got to be the right. He's not just going to take, which is crazy because there's only 32 of them, and you're going to make $16 million like Jim Harbaugh.
But I hope he's smart enough to realize you might only get one chance. If you go to a team without a quarterback or you don't have a good option, you might be 2 or 3 years, you're fired, and then you're never getting that shot again.
I heard a rumor that he won't stop using all the bad C words. In the interviews. Yeah, right. Like all of them.
How many bad ones are there? Grim, name as many as you can.
Bad C words?
Yeah, let's start with the letter C.
Well, you've got the C word.
Well, which one is that one?
That's
the
C word.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
You know.
No.
I have no idea.
How many letters does it have?
Look in the mirror.
On fire!
In fuego back there.
Hang on, is this a Wally Pipp situation? Zach's game with Sauce gone is significantly.
What is going on?
Sauce's key card will no longer work.
I'm here for it.
Look in the mirror. What a top rope line. That was A+. If Power Trip Bets and Quotes doesn't have that as one of the quotes of the week, that guy should be fired. Quotes. You know?
Yeah.
That
Quotes.
guy. Yeah.
That guy.
How many other C words are there?
Probably tens of thousands.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, you mean the bad ones?
Yeah.
Oh, look in the mirror. See, I have to make fun of him, otherwise I'm not doing my job.
You sound like Hank the Buffalo.
Yeah, you do.
Where were we? Anyway, so Ben Johnson is staying with the Lions.
Yeah. And he's coaching the Gopher basketball team, too.
Yeah,
I would think
real
that
good.
spread yourself too thin.
A little bit.
Yeah, doesn't need another job.
How many more significant wins do you think the Gophers truly need to get in? Because I assume right now they're on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
Right?
a lot.
How much of a
A
run?
lot.
They need a lot of
Yeah, because the net
wins?
ranking, the Big Ten's not as strong net ranking wise, and some of that is just weird how the formulas work out.
sucks,
Some of it's set even before the non-conference schedule, and then the conference you're stuck, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's only 4 teams in the top 50 in the Big Ten, and if you're playing a home game, you have to get a quad 1 win, you have to play a top 30 team.
Come on.
So they're going to need some wins. And they'll have to, quite frankly, they'll have to do it sheer volume. Now, if you keep winning, I think they're 80-ish, 85th, somewhere in there right now in the net ranking. That's probably not good enough to get you in that large berth. Things would start well by beating Northwestern Saturday, because Northwestern is a tournament team right now.
Looks like, according to the schedule, 11 games left before the tournament. So plenty of time, but you got to win a lot of those.
As you said, when hockey said it's January 31st, I'm like, there's only 11. I can't, where did, 2/3 of the season's over.
Just kind of dawned on me. Wait a minute. We're already talking about March Madness?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Good Lord.
And as it sits right now, obviously the rankings can change, but they only have 2 games left against ranked teams.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Purdue and Illinois.
So you would have to do it by sheer volume, and then hopefully stack a win or 2 in there that does involve, a quad 1 or 2.
Shock Purdue, right?
They could do that.
Shock Purdue.
That would, if you win at Purdue, that would be that would push you up several spots in the net ranking for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. Oh, well, I guess
Maybe I do.
Well, let's ask you about
know?
this, Mark Parrish. The Wild still have another week to go.
Yes, they do.
Another week off before the All-Star break is over, and they resume their, quote, second half of the season.
Yep.
What do you do now that they've had some losses? They have Spurgeon out for the year. If you're Bill Guerin, do you shut this thing down? They're within striking distance if everything goes their way to get to the postseason. But do you get aggressive with this extra Spurgeon money, or do you just stand pat and say this is a longer play than 23-24?
I think it's one of those where you gotta, if it helps us now and the future, then that's a good deal right now. But everything that we've got going on, the first half was a long first half. This with everything from Sweden, the coaches getting fired, everything that's happened in that organization. I hope those guys are away from this game, not turning on a single stitch of hockey, not listening to hockey, and just resetting their brain, because these last 30-some games are going to be an absolute sprint for the playoffs. And they're not out of it right now. Yeah, they're going to probably need some help. Like, somebody in front of them is probably going to have to struggle a little bit. They're going to, they're going to have to win a ton of games. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility for them making. That being said, it's a long, tough road for them, So I can see where, they maybe won't make a big push this year, because they know where they're at with the salary cap issues anyway. As much as they want to get to be a Stanley Cup contender, they know where they're at right now with the hits that we have right now. So they're still building. Billy Guerin is still building towards that Stanley Cup champion team. And if he can find something that works for the future, for now and the future, then that's great. But to be honest with you, right now, with how this season's going, it's like, boys, figure it's there's your group. This is your team. This is our core that we expect that can win at least one playoff round. And if we can get that, then it all of a sudden becomes a destination where that one single guy who's whoever the big free agent's up in another year or so. And I should probably take a look at that because it's my job. But that's when all of a sudden they're circling Minnesota. Like, what that team's missing is me. And that's where we want to get to. So, and you know what? Sometimes it's just, I hate to say it, but sometimes the years just don't work. It just becomes too much, some things that have happened. And you just kind of got to, as a player, I'm not saying necessarily as an organization, but as a player, you kind of got to erase and move on. I've had a couple of years of those myself, and there's not much you can do about it. That just nothing seems to work. And you come back and play even harder the next year. Remember how hard it is, Rosie. You remember how hard it is.
He does.
If the season ended today, the Wild would pick 6th in the draft. You have a shot in the lottery, and really the top 2 spots are where you want to be. The Celebrini and the Yzerman kid.
Yes.
Probably going to be the top 2 that go.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can look at that too, like an off year, they get a better pick. So I would have to say Billy Guerin is literally, he's holding tight unless something that works for now, but it's got to work for the future too.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome. Sorry to depress everyone here.
No.
Not a whole lot of reaction.
We want the truth. We want the truth.
All right, there's Mark Rosen. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We can do some other stuff with Mark Rosen. Power Trip Morning Show returns after this on the thing.
St. Paul, the Fan.
I love this song.
I love this song. Rosie, do you love this song?
How can you not?
I know it. Put down that sawed-off shotgun, Rosie. It's okay, buddy. Hey, do you know Mike Grimm?
I've heard of him.
Okay, he's right there beside you.
Yeah, spent many luncheons together.
Yes.
Yes,
we have.
How many football coaches?
You call them dappers?
Let's
no.
see. We
did, Jerry Kill, Tracy Clays,
PJ Fleck.
PJ Fleck, and wait, who's the interim? Was that Tracy? No, Tracy.
Tracy
was the interim.
Yeah.
Did you do anything with Tim Brewster? Or was that before your
I
time?
did, but not a show.
Not with a show.
Oh, yeah?
The
We
hell
had
is
Tim
that
Brewster.
supposed to mean?
And then
We inhaled the helium a lot.
That
Jeff
sounds right.
Horton was his intern after he got fired.
Oh,
Remember
that's-
Jeff Horton?
Oh, barely.
Yeah. We did a few shows with him.
There's a book
At that time, I think your guy Maxie and I were hosting that show.
Brewster was.
Remember we had Jed Fish for a half a second as well?
Yeah.
And now he's a big deal.
1 year coordinator for Brewster.
Oh man, right.
Now he's making $7.7
Is he
million
really?
dollars a year, I think, is the Washington Huskies head
Good to
coach.
be him.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, they shuffled the big college football shuffle.
I didn't know he was making that, though. Good for
I
him,
think
man.
that's what it is. I think it's 7.
Yeah.
He was making like 2.8 at Arizona.
Wow.
Hey, you can watch us right now at KFAN.com/watch.
No.
Not yet.
You scared me.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I haven't got the text from Zach. I'm out of the screen yet.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It's not 8 o'clock yet, is it?
No.
It did sound like it was painful.
Yeah, like I was twisting something that he didn't want twisted. No.
Look funny. Something I don't want twisted.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
Down boy.
All right. Should we do? I don't really have any Vikings news. But I'd like to say thank you to Radco anyway.
Down at Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
They're looking at players,
Yeah,
blah,
looking
blah,
at old
blah.
people.
And again, shout out to CJ Ham.
Yeah, he
we
was.
love that dude. He got into the Pro Bowl.
Thank you, Zach.
Even if you don't care about the game, it's still cool that a good dude like CJ gets a little
Absolutely.
recognition.
It's amazing how many people, it's not really a game anymore, nor not that it ever was, but people still watched it in surprising big numbers. I mean, you think, who wants to invest time before the Super Bowl and watching the Pro Bowl? It was traditionally AFC against the NFC, right? I remember looking at the ratings when it was at CCO and going, holy hell.
Yeah.
If it's a football game, it involves the NFL.
Yeah.
It will triple anything that's on, and it was. And now it's a skills competition, and people still watch.
All kinds of skills, right? CJ Ham will take on fellow fullbacks in a pancake cooking contest judged by Emeril Lagasse.
Seriously?
Are you
100%
You made
no.
that up.
Oh, my God.
You know what?
Listen, the fact that you guys even thought it was possible is how dumb the Pro Bowl game is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That sounds like it's a legitimate idea.
Network Tuesday night.
Fullback pancaking guys. I mean, that sounds like
you're onto something there.
Maybe I subconsciously thought of that.
That's actually a better idea
it.
than most of the other actual ideas they come up with for that.
That's exactly what I thought was pancake. That's where I thought you were going with it.
So did I.
With the block.
He came up with something.
Rose, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I was thinking about this earlier because we were talking about how big the ratings were a little bit ago. And
Yes.
So baseball was America's pastime.
It
right?
was for
Like
many years.
The thing,
yes.
right? The thing.
Right. In the 60s.
What has changed? I know.
Well,
like we can talk all day long about the
what has changed from the dynamics of the television audience?
Why is football the dominant sport now? Why is it not basketball? Why is it not hockey? Why is it
because football's played 17, 18 times a year. There's not 162. There's not 82 in the from the NHL and the NBA. And those are just the regular season games. Every game means something. The NFL has ratcheted up, I think, with the TV contracts. They make it an event. They make it sort of must see. And fantasy football has helped tremendously. Obviously, other sports have fantasy, whatever, but the gambling aspect. But I think more than anything, you can invest 3 hours. It just has so much more meaning when you have 17, 18 of them, as opposed to the rest of them, as I just mentioned. I think that's number one, and the game itself is absolutely perfect for television. The NFL, technology and everything they've done.
See, I buy that one because radio is baseball's better for radio.
I don't disagree. I mean, that was the romantic sort of way of growing up, listening to Vin Scully, and even in town here, Herb Carneal and Ray Christensen, the great announcer,
no question,
at WCCO Radio when he did even go for football. But I mean, but baseball and Ray Scott, and I think there is something to be said about that. But I think that the sheer number of games and the way the NFL now packages everything, and it just keeps getting bigger. And I read the Sports Business magazine all the time. It's astonishing what they're getting their hands into. Whoever thought this week would ever happen? And I'm looking at Corey right now. A Super Bowl being played in Las Vegas.
Well, that's why I was going to rip you, but then you finally made my point. I don't think you can understate the birth and the growth of fantasy football and gambling, but specifically
100%.
fantasy football growing alongside with the NFL and its explosion. It's people found personal, individual connections to the game. Not just, I like this, or it's important, or there's only 16 of them, now 17. It was on a weekly basis, you had something invested.
Yeah, and it's not like if you have to have, the old days, we had our local bookie that we would call and say, give me $100 on the Vikings or whatever it might be. And now, of course, it's all on your mobile phones. The NFL's embraced it. That's the thing.
It took them forever, though.
It took them forever, but I never in a million years thought they'd ever think about holding a Super Bowl
and
in
look,
Las Vegas.
We just talked about it a day or two ago, after Dan Campbell's garbage decisions on Sunday, right? That the analytics versus old school debate is going to rage on for eternity because the average person's not going to function in the analytics world. They're not going to understand why we're doing this. The Monday morning quarterback factor is even better with that, right?
Yeah. Right.
And the best part about football is you have 30 or so seconds to argue with your buddies after every play. Yeah. Would I have done that? Would I have done this? Should he have caught that? Should he have thrown this? You have time in between the game to break it down. Then when the game's over, you have 6 days to say Dan Campbell's an idiot, or here's why I would have went for it.
Yeah,
and you argue on Twitter. You argue with your friends.
Right.
It's the perfect amount of time to have everybody think that they're an expert and play hindsight. It's the best.
It is, and yet football is so much more complex. I'm looking at Mr. Parrish here too, as far as breaking it. Why is the wild power play not really working? How many fans spend much time breaking that down about how they're attacking the power play as opposed? And even in the NFL, you're going, well, this happened. The quarterback got sacked. Well, the left tackle missed his tackle by 2 feet, and that's why they're blaming the quarterback for throwing the interception. In baseball, it's always right in front of you. You just follow the ball, and it takes you to exactly what happened almost 98% of the time. So the game itself and how it transpires is easier, but there's so much of it.
There's just so much to argue about.
And I think,
think about.
And 100%.
Corey, I too think that you are onto something in terms of and Rosie said it's a great sport for TV, where hockey, basketball, it's a continuous game. So there's not much time. Like the American public generally has a short attention span. Baseball is a slower game. Like, I love baseball, but you have to be, if you really are paying attention, you have to be willing to commit to something. Football is perfect for a short attention span. As you said, you've got a quarterback comes up and there's a play that takes about 8 seconds. That's all we have to concentrate. And then you can regroup for 30 or 40 seconds. Yeah. You sit there, you talk about the play, whatever, and then it's another 8 seconds. I mean, I think a whole football game has 16 minutes of total.
There's not a lot of action in it.
It's a perfect TV game.
Compared to the NHL.
I'm flat out jealous. Now that I pay attention to the announcers and the guys working on TV, I'm flat out jealous of like baseball and football. Because they have time.
to
explain everything.
Yeah. And
football,
fans have time
every
to
single play, they have
rest.
time to explain it. Hockey, there could be you see something amazing, a great play. No whistle for a few minutes. Moving on.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers it now. You're like, son of a. It's so frustrating.
Right.
That part of because of the fluid game of hockey. It's because there's certain things you want to talk about. You want to break down.
Yeah.
And if it just goes a little bit, couple minutes too long, you're like, wow, God, nobody's going to remember that anyway. Moving on.
But I think the American mind, the short attention span is perfect for football because it just you pay attention for 8 seconds and then
but again,
you rest for a minute.
Take out legalized sports gambling. Let's hope all 50 states eventually get there. Ours is not one of them yet.
Not yet.
But we go all the way back to the birth of fantasy football. Like you said, Rosie, it was your friends and you were playing out of a newspaper. Somebody had to keep track on a pad of paper, right? Then you got to the point where the internet was a thing in the 90s. And then when you would maybe have one league. Now everybody's in 6-7 leagues.
Right.
You don't even have to have high stakes. It's just you have probably somebody that you're either playing against or is on your team in almost every game.
Yeah.
Which gives you at least some reason to watch
to be
Thursday
a casual
night football
fan
on Amazon and Monday Night Football on ESPN and Sunday Night Football on
I've got
NBC.
my meat sauce going here with my hands.
Yes, Mike, your hands up.
Yes, thank you. Also, I think the ratings, the general growth, you're adding from, say, 40 years ago, an entire 50% of the population. Women are much more interested in sports now than they were. They follow it closer. They now have fantasy teams and all kinds of stuff. So I think you're just increasing the audience that way as well. And that's probably true across the board with sports, with more female participation as athletes themselves. But I think in football especially, you've quite frankly, doubled the potential pool of people probably in the last.
Well, on the feeder system, look no further than the upcoming NFL draft and all the discussions already to be had, and hundreds more to be had about the quarterback situation, what the Vikings are going to. We feel like we already know these players that are coming out in the NFL draft, NHL draft. NBA draft, you may know. I couldn't even, and Grim follows college basketball right now. I mean, I used to follow it all the time. I don't think I could name 5 male college basketball players right now. I know Caitlin Clark. I know Angel Reese. I know a few others in women's basketball. But
I can't name 5 either.
Oh, that's kind of stunning. But I'm just saying, the NBA, it's just the same type of thing. But the NFL, we know them already. We're going to argue about them. We're going to argue their merits. We're going to, armchair quarterback, the whole thing. It's a constant feeder system that never the interest level never relinquishes. And it's just they know it. They got a death grip on the American public, and the television ratings prove it out. Because
and they make an event for everything.
Everything is an event.
Yeah, it's released.
The schedule
and
event.
It's like a prime time.
Listen
ratings.
To Abbott going down to the combine. I mean, I remember when there was a time they wouldn't even let us into the building in Indianapolis to shoot the combine with video because it was so secretive. Now it's like, hey, come on in. We're going to make this a 3-day television event. Well, good for them. They know how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Abbott has been screaming at all the people down the hallway, like, look, we have to get the power trip to London again. The NFL is king.
I know.
It's like he wants to send us now to check it out.
Right, and I'm like, I'm willing to go now for a preliminary kind of test run.
Kind of a scouting, pre-scout.
Yeah, we've been there twice in the last 5 years with the team. But
that's been 5 years.
Maybe it's a new location. It's been a year and a half since we've been there. Let's scope it out. We're going in the fall, by the way.
I think it's going to be the same place.
Yeah. Which means we'll probably broadcast at that, what is it called? Barrow, Boy, and Banker.
God, that was fun.
Right next to Borough
Do we know
Market.
the date yet on that?
We do not.
We do not. Not till
But the London games are like late September, early October-ish.
Right.
So we're expecting September or October.
Yeah. Pretty good chance of that.
Have you been to London?
I have, let's see. No, I have not.
Well, boy, would I like to offer you something. A chance to pay full price and join the power trip as a part of our trip.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you can just purchase one of those spots when it goes.
If I purchase one, then could I get another one for full price?
Let's not get crazy.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
I run a similar deal on my website. Buy one at full price, get another one at full
much
price.
fun. Incredible. That was a great event. And that's another thing, what they do internationally.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep.
All right. More with the Power Trip Morning Show. We'll do an official Fan 5 after this. We'll ask Rosie about going to see the Mavericks without Luka.
Hey, Grimmer's gotta go.
Everybody else.
Grimmer, you gotta go.
or
I have
not?
a little work to do. I appreciate you guys letting me,
Well, we love it.
come in and crash the
Nora
party.
Jones is serenading you out the door.
she's on.
There she is.
There she goes.
Well, look, what sucks is we wanted you in because Sauce was gone. We expected you to just
Right.
say really stupid things, but you actually made some decent points.
Well, I mean, I tried.
I know you
I
tried.
couldn't quite get there. I tried.
More of the Power Trip Morning Show after this on the Fan.
And I want to walk with you on a cloudy day in fields where the yellow grass grows knee high. So won't you try